Alright, it's common knowledge now that Ash has left the anime. After all, it's been 2 years now. But that doesn't mean we've stopped crying. Yes, Ash got replaced in 2023 by not one, but 2 trainers, Liko and the topic of today's video, Roy. And this kid has had some really rocky character arc, from being called the new Ash to a side character to pretty much just a promotion machine. So to really understand what's going on with this guy, we gotta start at the very beginning with his introduction and purpose to the story. To super briefly explain the intro of Horizon's plot, Liko owns a mysterious pendant and she gets continually hunted down by an organization who wants said pendant for evil reasons. Now, this isn't something entirely new to those who followed Ash. Every episode, the guy got hunted down by Team Rocket just so that they could get his Pikachu, but that's where the similarities between the series end. Liko is a way more realistic modern day character. Rather than having dreams of winning the league or becoming a Pokemon master, she's more focused on attending her new school and the excitement of getting her first partner Pokemon. Now there's nothing wrong with this. Ash dreams unreasonably big and Liko's way more relatable, but I still find many others, including myself, leaning more towards Ash. Is this because of nostalgia? Yes, undeniably so, but it's also due to the reason you're into Pokemon in the first place. Like with all other fictional stories, Pokemon acts as an escape from our world. It lets us experience things that we could only dream of. And because of that, things that are unreasonable, such as dreaming of being the very best, like no one ever was, is way more fun and entertaining than watching a shy person become more confident. Is this me saying Ash is better than Liko? No. And is it me saying Liko is better than Ash? No. Both are good characters who appeal to 2 different types of audiences, and that's perfectly okay. Not only that, it's also not the main point of this video. Instead, that's Roy. And that's where he's going to be coming in now. As I said, this anime has 2 protagonists, just like Diamond and Pearl and Journeys. And because of this, Liko can appeal to one audience and Roy can appeal to another, especially the older Ash fans like myself. Or at least that was the initial idea, but the reception wasn't exactly all there. Roy makes his first proper debut in episode 4 of Horizons, and he's the complete opposite to Liko. She got the chance to attend a school as a regional transfer student, and she can be timid around new people. She's also trying to figure out her dream and gets given a star Pokemon for free. Whereas for Roy, he's stuck on an island attending classes online. He's got no problems with new people, and he knows exactly what he wants to do. As for getting his first partner Pokemon, he can't even do that because there's no teachers to teach him how to catch one. Once again, I've got to reiterate, I'm not ragging on Liko. Most trainers start out like her, even we do in the games. Roy is an exception to this, but them being opposites in this regard lets them both share the spotlight and make up for each other's faults, just like Ash and his own companions. If both characters are the exact same, then what's the point of having both of them? Now once again to wrap back to the point of this section, Roy failing to be the new Ash. For a concept like this to work, he needs to share traits with Ash like we've already seen in their personality, as well as the fact that they're both actively battling. But he also needs to not be a clone of him, which he isn't. After all, his dream is to see the world like the ancient adventurer he had heard of, and catch a Black Rayquaza from his ancient Pokeball. And going back to personalities, they're also not exactly the same. Where beginner Ash was very sassy and quick to be arrogant, Roy was more naive and jolly, wanting to learn more about the world rather than assuming he knows best. On paper, this sounds perfectly fine, right? The new anime is following its own adventurous plotline, whilst also giving old fans memories of their first rodeo with Ash. Well, it wasn't. A lot of people only stuck with the anime because Ash was there, and when he left, they had no reason to watch it, even if one of the characters shared his semblance. The bottom line for these people was, if Ash wasn't there, they weren't gonna watch the new anime, no matter how good or bad it was. Realistically though, that is fair and understandable. When you've been following a character for 25 years, it's not easy just to drop him and then go into a new series. Now, you may be saying Roy is his own character. It doesn't matter if people want him to be their new Ash. And yeah, this is true, but you can't deny the fact that he was also evidently meant to be filling the gap Ash left. And if he can't do that, he might as well just be a side main character, like Dot. Which brings us on to our next section. Whilst Liko was getting all the attention for being something fresh, as she should to be honest, Roy was off to the side, being, well, a side character. People didn't hate him or anything, but he wasn't as popular as Liko or her rival Emetheo. But what really started to hurt the guy though was when the plot started plotting. As I said, Liko has a special pendant, which we learned to be Terapagos, the new legendary Pokemon at the time, as well as one of the Pokemon owned by the Ancient Adventurer. Oh, and the Ancient Adventurer also owned more Pokemon, which were all kept in Ancient Pokeballs, which Liko had started to collect. And of course, this person was Liko's ancestor. With the way I said it, it makes her sound like a Mary Sue, but realistically, these are all usual main character things that make sense for the main character. You also have to remember, Roy is also sharing the role of main character. At least, that's how they initially promoted it like. 2 main characters sharing the spotlight. We met Liko first and she'll always have a wedge ahead of him. but he's still meant to be a main protagonist of his own right, and that's clearly not the case. It feels really like a kick to the face when his own special thing that made him different from Ash and the others is pretty much being given away. Roy is getting to see the world, which is of course the highlight of his life, but the thing that made him special, being the Black Rayquaza in the ancient Pokeball, ended up just being a piece of 6 belonging to Liko's ancestor. Someone even made a comic about this topic back when it was happening, and honestly, it's pretty funny and accurate. Of course, Liko isn't straight up stealing his dream. After all, she doesn't have any plans to catch any of the ancient Pokemon, and even with Lucius being her ancestor, he doesn't have any plans of being a great adventurer like him. But it still feels like Roy's been knocked down to the same level as Doth. He's a main character, but not a main character. So if Roy's failed to be the next Ash, and his uniqueness has been watered down, what can they do to make him still relevant? Well, their answer was to make him the ultimate battle promotion machine. Throughout the story, the gang go through tons of battles, whether it's against wild Pokemon, the explorers, or even regional champions. And in all of these battles, Roy continues to prove himself capable. Even if he takes a loss here and there, he gets his rematches and always progresses, to the point some people think he's too good. Even the way he battles is reminiscent of Ash with their unorthodox strategies. During this time, Liko was actually the one getting the short end of the stick. She couldn't manage to get a meaningful victory. Although this isn't a good thing either, the whole point of meeting two main characters is they're meant to be equal, not one person getting the spotlight and the other one getting shafted. Eventually, a time skip occurs in the anime, and the once childish and fun Roy has now grown up into a mature leader character, along with gaining the power of Mega Evolution. This time skip is very decisive in the community, especially during the time before we got the Roy flashback episodes. Roy's change felt very harsh and abrupt to some people. He changed from singing with his partner during battles to using a stern, quiet Mega Lucario, which had the personality of every single Lucario. Roy's team used to be brimming with personality. I mean, Crocodile still does have its personality, but ever since Kilowattrel evolved, it's literally just become a flying bird. That's all it does, just fly Roy around. But it's got doubled down with his battles, where he just dog walks everyone and everything. For example, Nemona. She's kind of in a way Roy's battle goal. She was established as a champion ranked trainer, and she would battle Roy once and oversee the group's battle other times. But for the most part, she seemed pretty unreachable, especially when you consider how long it took Ash to be a champion. And no, I'm not going to be including the fact that these guys fought Jeter in a 3v1, because that's something I'm erasing from my memories. The time comes for a rematch though, and it's Mega Evolution versus Terastallization. The well-known strongest in the region going up against Roy and his Mega, who we got from who knows where. And what's this? A new game's coming out based on Mega Evolution? Well, I wonder who will win. Obviously, Roy takes the victory, and if it was Ash, we'd all be singing his praises. But for Roy, most people couldn't feel the joy. This victory felt like it happened off screen, even though we literally watched it happen. He used a Pokemon that no one really knew anything about, and the animation being quite basic didn't help. Roy's just randomly being shown as one of the strongest trainers without really doing anything to gain that title. Once again, having Ash for so long has definitely skewed people's perspective on how long it needs to take someone to become champion level. So what is it that I'm complaining about? Well, it's the mishandling of Roy's character. He goes from one thing to another, and the parts that make him him get dropped and picked up like whatever. Things would be much better if the writers could decide what they actually want to do with the character. What's his purpose? His reasons for being with the Rising World Tacklers was to see the world and get Rayquaza. He's definitely seen a lot of the world, but getting Rayquaza doesn't really feel like all that much of a goal anymore. We've seen it so many times with the heroes, and we've seen it battle and do all sorts of things. It's lost a lot of its mystery and charm due to it being connected to something else. From the start, he was clearly meant to be like Ash, but different. But they took away this difference and gave him things that made him more similar to Ash. But in the process, now he just feels like the guy who battles. Don't get me wrong as well, I like Roy. He's definitely one of my favorite characters of Horizons, and the time skip making him more cooler and mature also helped me like him even more. Him maturing was something that had to happen, especially after how the last arc ended. And with his team no longer having a leader, he naturally had to take the role left behind by Freed. But it would be nice for him to actually have a reason to be in the story. What is his plot relevance here? A user known as Kazunia from the Cerebi forums said this, and I think it's pretty spot on. I think it boils down to the idea that Roy doesn't have much else going for him except for the wins. So it's the one argument someone can use to build a defense case for him. The problem is that it's a hollow argument that doesn't have much merit. One can't possibly claim that Kilowattrel is better than Hatchrim or Tinkertuff simply because it has better statistics, when everything else surrounding it is plain bad and underwritten. For example, lacking personality, no distinguishing character traits, disappearance of his dynamic with the Croc, etc. The same applies to Lucario. It gets wins, but what else does it have to offer beyond the sugary superficial coating of it being strong? Nothing. You can't use the wins argument to proclaim Roy's better written when everything else surrounding Roy is mid. Dude's core character development took place entirely off screen. Now he's barely playing a meaningful role in this arc, even though they made a big deal out of him being the one who changed the most. Like, he looks cooler now, and he's got some wins to hype us up for post time skip Roy, but that's all that's happened so far. I'm afraid the win to loss ratio isn't strong enough of an argument to present Roy or most of his team as well written. When Free comes back and assumes the role of leader again, I hope that we can see a different story for Roy. I'm assuming the other characters will get Mega Evolution, or at least something special which will outshine Roy once again. Already has one of the new Megas, which is cooler than seeing the plain old Lucario. And Liko and Dot are both on the path of getting Pokemon people have been wanting to see animated. The only thing that will be keeping him relevant is how he will be beating every trainer he faces with Mega Lucario. I understand the whole point of the Pokemon anime is promotion, but could they really not have given him a different Mega? Mega Gallade for example, or even a new Mega? I guess the anime really does prioritize promotion over everything. So now let me ask you, what's your opinion on Roy? Do you like him? Have you always liked him? Heck, do you dislike him? Let me know in the comment section down below, and thanks for watching this video. Take care.